I hear these feet shuffling towards me, I'm like, what the heck? I turn around. It's the principal chasing me. Now, this is an older man, mind you.
Probably, 60s, maybe? Late 50s?
I'd say late 60s. I don't know.
Really?
He was up there, yeah.
He just reminds me of the, I don't want to give, hints away, but he reminds me of honestly, the teacher from The Incredibles.
Yeah, it's older, yeah. He chased me down the street to tell me not to leave the school looking like that.
Welcome back to the Nazarene Nerd Podcast. I'm David, the Nazarene Nerd, and today with me I have my beautiful wife, Madeline, which, yeah, it sounds weird. I never call you Madeline.
That's gross.
You ever notice that guys, when they like a girl, they never call them by their first, their real name, but it's opposite with girls?
Yeah, anytime anybody calls you Dave, I kind of puke a little in my mouth.
I can bring up the example of Rags. I know someone that used to like him would call him Michael, but everybody else called him Rags. And Jamie, her husband, Andrew, I've never heard her call him Bulldog, but that was his nickname in high school.
Yeah, I had a kid in high school who liked me. Everybody called him Mondo because that was his last name, but his name's Caleb.
Did you like him?
Yeah, that's a
So
whole other topic.
Who did you call him? So you called him Caleb?
I called him Caleb, yeah.
See, women don't call men by their nicknames, but men call women by their nicknames, but they like them.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
Oh boy. What are we talking about today? I can't say any names of anything.
We don't want to get sued for defamation.
The private Christian school that I went to and all the horrible things that happened, some of the horrible things that happened there that I know about.
So we'll start with when did you start private school? You didn't start out in private school. You went to public school.
No, I went to Standing Stone Elementary up to 2nd grade, and then went to Southside Elementary through 5th grade, and then started at this private Christian school from 6th to 9th grade. Went back to public school, Huntington High School, in 10th grade. Went back to the private Christian school in 11th grade, and then half of my senior year until I got kicked out.
That's right, it was your senior year you got kicked out.
Yep. Which I didn't even write that down. My list of everything, and so
we'll start with when did the red flag start popping up?
probably when I got into the high school side of the school. So the school was in the church, and the left side is the elementary side, the right side's the high school side. So, and that's 7th through 12th grade over there. You just saw a bunch of favoritism, like the parents that put in the most money in the school, those kids got treated a lot better, not picked on near as much.
So it only happens in public school for sports, not
Yeah.
so much with teachers. Unless you know the teacher outside of school, then it's a probably different story.
Yeah, and a lot of the big problems that I've written down would have started when this kid, who I will be affectionately calling Smelly, started. I can't remember exactly what grade.
He's older than you, right?
I think he's technically 2 years ahead of me, but
He got held back
I believe he got held back. So
because he smelled.
no, he was smelly and just really freaking stupid.
What's your language there, Missy? We'll get into that.
Yeah. Actually, why don't I just bring that up right now?
Sure.
The legalism in the school was ridiculous.
Which also was in the church itself. This church kind of...
The church owned the school. You could only teach there if you went to the church.
Did you have to be on, their... I don't want to say, paid staff, but, the board or anything like that, or you just had to attend the church?
I think you just had to attend the church. I'm not sure if any of them were on the board or not.
The principal, was he also the pastor, or was he
no.
So he's just...
Oh, no, the pastor's a whole other story. No, I do believe the principal was on the board, but I don't know about any of the other teachers. I can't imagine my English teacher.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just how he is, I couldn't imagine. Now the science teacher,
It's funny.
she probably
It's
was.
funny that you still like her regardless, though. I thought you said you were okay with her.
The science teacher?
Yeah, she was the one. Even though she was the reason you got kicked out.
Yes, yes.
I thought you were all right with her.
Eh. Oh, back to the freaking thing. So, the legalism. You couldn't say or do anything. Oh my goodness. I get home one day and my dad's like, I got a call from your principal. I said, okay.
What I do now?
Yeah, like, because they would never tell me. They would never come to me and say, hey, we heard you did this.
It was always
They
reoccurring.
would just assume, yeah. They would assume that I did the thing and then just call my parents immediately. So I'd have to deal with that and then go in the next day and say, hey, I didn't do that. No, normally I did do that, but there was a few times I didn't. So, and my dad says, yeah, we got a call and apparently you said freaking during class or something.
I thought he thought you said the F word
No.
first.
No, because my dad responded with, are you freaking kidding me? I'm getting a call
About
for this? Yeah.
Didn't they before that thought you said the F word at some point?
No, they thought I said, OMG, use God's name in
Oh,
vain. And
okay.
I don't say that. I may say a lot of things, but I don't say that. I don't like that. I've never liked that. And I was actually really offended that they thought I said that. And I told my principal that because he called me in the office about it. I'm like, and I even admitted to him, like, I say a lot of stupid things, and I know I'm in here a lot. Like, I'm surprised at that point they didn't have my name on a plaque in a chair in there.
So this is your chair. Come sit.
But I told him, like, I'm actually offended that you would think I'd actually say that. But yeah, so that was funny. My parents didn't agree with a lot of the stuff they said anyway. They just sent me there to get me away from the public school crowd, which is it's funny because
wasn't near as bad anyway.
yeah, I never got bullied. Now, granted, I didn't really know anybody, so I couldn't get bullied because I didn't know anybody. But even like
You were a bully though.
with the
in grade school.
sports, no,
You said you were a bully.
not to their faces. No, but like even with the sports in public school, the sportsmanship and just the teamwork together was so much better than at the private school. And I even in 11th grade when I went back to said private school, I even told them while I was playing soccer, I'm like, these girls at the public, like, they work so much better together, like less fighting.
Because they're
They
not.
hung out
Their
more,
parents
they-
aren't paying for them to be there. They want to be there. They're not being forced to do something that is involved in the church or something like that.
No, but
Because
Yeah,
I can't. I don't have the same experience, and I can't understand your experience with being in public school my entire life. Which I don't know if it was any better. I wasn't the, star child that someone who was raised in the church should be. You
I wasn't either.
too many times where you know the right things, you say the right things, but then behind closed doors or when you're at school, things slip. You say stuff, you do stuff. So I don't. And with your situation of this private school, I honestly don't know if it would have been better for you to be in public school the entire time or private school the entire time, which it sounds like.
It would have been cheaper in public school. This school, whenever I went, was $2,000 or $3,000 a year, and they've recently built a whole new building. Now the school's not in the church anymore; it's this whole new building. So I can imagine they've raised the price significantly.
Which someone had just recently told me, not long ago today, that it was expensive, and so the funds that they couldn't bring up, it was on the school members, like the parents, to fundraise, to
Yeah, that
do
doesn't
stuff
surprise me.
to get to pay for this.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And we have friends who actually sent their kids there, and yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, we
Okay,
do.
yeah.
I had to hold my tongue, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know how you feel, but he's in elementary school. The elementary school is not bad. but I would not want to send.
I would say do it like the Hermans did. Friends of ours, well, friends of mine, they homeschooled their kids up until what would have been their freshman year, and then they gave them the option to, if you wanted to go to public school. Because too many times you get people saying, "Oh, homeschool kids, they're weird." I mean, well, most of the time they are, but they don't.
They're awkward.
Yeah, they don't have the social skills. They don't have
Yeah.
whatever. But the Hermans, they. I played football with Cody since Pee Wee, and then I ended up dating his sister at the tail end of Pee Wee into junior high. But like, I've never once seen them when they were transitioning from homeschooling to public school have that awkward phase of like, oh, I don't know anybody. They just jumped right into making friends because of they all played sports. They were involved in the church, whatever. So, I think if you're going to do both of them, I'd say homeschool from start to freshman year and then let them decide if they want to go to try public school, and then you get freshman year to try it out, come back, whatever.
Yeah, I would
But even
definitely consider the homeschooling over private school experience.
yeah, but it's kind of hard
Christian
now.
Christian private school, not just any private school. Just
I think
Christian.
the statistics, I looked it up. Obviously the abuse and assault in private schools is honestly a lot lower than in public schools. But who's to say that that's not
a lot of it's swept under the rug.
that, and people that don't come forward because of fearing repercussions of authority because it's a private school and their parents are paying for you to go there. So the statistics are lower, but who knows if that's true statistics or not.
That's a good lead into bringing Smelly in. Yeah, again, I don't remember what grade he came in, but why I call him Smelly. You could tell he was in the building as soon as you walked in the door.
Was it BO smell or just like everything?
See, at first, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a medical condition, because some people just can't control how they smell, unfortunately. But no, it wasn't until I confirmed it. We were sitting in class, and unfortunately, he sat in front of me. Nobody wanted to sit near him. It was Spirit Week. He had sprayed some, like, non-permanent red hairspray in his hair. Our colors were red and yellow for some stupid reason. We were always called the McDonald's team in among the teams we played.
But when you play basketball, you guys were mostly better than the rest of them anyway. Besides like one.
Until my class graduated.
Yeah.
And now the boys team is better, I believe. But oh yeah, the girls team was so anyway. So yeah, bring Smelly into the picture. The very first problem we ever had with him, I never really liked him to begin with, but I get a text at like 2 a.m. because back then I could stay up that late and not hate myself for it.
Now it's like, it's 9, it's late, I need to get to bed.
Oh yeah, but I get a text from my friend, who again, I'm not naming anybody, but she said, hey, Smelly sent me a picture of his junk. So at the time, I would have been in 9th grade, so that leaves my friend in 8th grade.
We've learned over the years, chicks love that.
Oh yeah, unsolicited pictures, oh yeah. So I'm in 9th grade, she's in 8th grade, that would put him in 10th grade.
That's right, she's a year younger than you.
So he would have been about roughly 17, since he was a year older than most of the kids in his class. And she would have been, what's 8th grade, like 14-ish?
13, 14, somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay, so 2 a.m. I told her, I'm like, well, did you delete the picture? She's like, well, yeah, I deleted it. I'm like, well, shoot, we don't have proof. But, I mean, I don't blame her for deleting it, because I'm sure it's etched in her brain.
Smell it through the phone.
Oh my gosh. Of course, she tells me not to tell anybody, which I understand, but also 17 and 13 or 14, like, that's just freaking weird. So I go into school the next day, go to a teacher I thought I could trust, and tell her, she was my math teacher, I told her, I'm like, hey, Smelly sent a picture of his junk to my friend, And she's like, okay, I'll take care of it, blah, blah, blah. A few days pass, and I find out from my friend they all talked in the principal's office. Smelly tried to say that it was his cousin who had his phone at 2 a.m.
How many times have we watched To Catch a Predator that it's always, oh, it wasn't me, it was my brother or my cousin who had my phone or my computer at the time. It wasn't me, yet you're the one here. You're
And at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, why is your cousin at your house awake at 2 a.m. with your phone?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that ticked me off. And the real kicker to that story is, so that all happened. A few other things happened in between this and what I'm about to tell now, but this goes along with that. So he graduated. I'm in 12th grade. So that makes my friend in 11th grade. We get called into an assembly. And 2 police officers walk in. And they're like, today we're talking about internet safety. And so they start to get into it, and they said, you know, it was brought up about sending pictures and how it's on the internet forever, and how even if it's deleted, they can go in and find it.
Still there. I've had at least 2 or 3 of those assemblies when I was in high school, in public school, and the guy made it fun because he said, "Don't be sending pictures of your giblets to people."
Yeah, so this happens, and it blows my mind because none of the adults at the time saw the irony in it. Again, this kid Smelly has caused other problems that relate to this, but they never did anything about it, never got the police involved, even after he turned 18. Like,
what was his career choice he wanted to do?
Well, for a while he worked at McDonald's.
No, what was he wanted to be, though? Did you say he was pursuing something? Was he pursuing to be a pastor or something like that?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So while he's doing this,
he could have been a Catholic priest. I mean, it would have fit real well. But no, he's actually working in a nursing
the celibacy
home.
would, work for him too.
Ugh.
Incel.
No,
celibacy.
He's working in a nursing home, and oh my gosh, he's having a kid now. That poor kid. Oh.
There's poor old people.
And I don't think he's married, so like his poor girlfriend,
That checks out.
she must have gotten COVID or something, because there's no way that she can stand that smell. There's just no way.
That's right. I had a dude at work when I first started at my job. I obviously won't say any names, but like he reeked. And one day he comes in, he had hickeys all over his neck. And we're just speculating, like, how? Like, how do you get that close to even to be his neck because of how nasty he smelled? I wasn't able to work next to him until I got COVID, and everyone was joking because I couldn't smell him, and it was great. Because he was a good worker. Don't get me wrong. The dude worked. He was a really good worker. He knew what he was doing, but he just reeked. Yeah,
and then it's back to Smelly. Oh, this whole thing, like all of these notes are mostly about Smelly, I'm telling you.
So this episode's about, being cautious about sending your kids to 1, private school, and 2, Christian private school, but this is kind of more of a rant about one kid, isn't it?
No, there's more to it, but I'm just telling you what was swept under the rug the most was this sexual predator behavior from this kid got swept under the rug.
Which happens too often in...
Yes, and you want to know why it got swept under the rug?
Parents probably spent a lot of money.
I didn't find this out till after I graduated. Someone higher up in the church was paying for him to go there.
Ah, so it wasn't even his parents. It was like it was a sponsor.
Oh, no. They were dirt poor.
Oh.
Yeah, so someone higher up in the church took him under their wing for some reason and would pay $2,000-$3,000 a year for him to go there.
Well, they obviously weren't checking in on him too closely.
Oh, you think? I'll just skip that one story, but this was another big thing. So, what grade would I have been in for this? Crap. Trying to think.
Awkward silence.
No, I believe I was in 9th for this. So I would have been in ninth.
He'd have been in 10th.
Yeah, 10th. So they took a group of kids on a field trip, I believe to a college to look at it. I think it was for the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders looking to go into college.
Was it a Christian college?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very legalistic Baptist Christian college.
Okay.
So clearly I didn't go. It was, well, I was in ninth grade anyway, but it was an optional trip. So it was all girls going and then Smelly. So they get back, and then the next day, you see that group that went all in the principal's office. Nobody knows what's going on. They weren't allowed to say anything, but one of the girls from the trip had kind of told me what had happened maybe a year or two after. And they caught Smelly touching himself in the back of the van. And nothing happened about that either. Not a suspension, not a, hey, you're being kicked out for being a perv.
But you get kicked out for having an attitude.
Yes, I did have an attitude, and I did get kicked out halfway through my senior year. But yeah, just all of that happening.
Which, angsty teens, high school years, obviously people are going to have attitudes. But
yeah,
but nobody should be a pervert.
I also had undiagnosed depression. So there was a lot.
And probably a bunch of other things.
Oh, I'm sure. But yeah, and there was just other stuff he did that we don't even have time to get into. Outside of school too, but yeah, a lot of the stuff from him got swept under the rug. And then yeah, I did have an attitude. I'm surprised I didn't get kicked out sooner, but when I got kicked out, I wouldn't have necessarily cared as much as I did, but
The way they did it.
the way they did it and right beforehand, I had actually started getting better. I had started getting better grades. I was getting nicer. I actually had students coming up to me saying, "Hey, I can tell you're like doing better," and I had teachers saying that as well.
Students will be the first ones to tell you because they're the ones right next to you, and a teacher can see you doing better in class.
And teenagers don't really say that to each other, so like
yeah,
that I was doing better, and yeah, they waited until I was on a choir trip for All-State Choir. It was a group of us that went. I think it was a 2-night thing. We would practice for 2 days, and then we would sing at the state capitol building. Yeah, they decided to wait till I was gone so I couldn't even defend myself to kick me out. My parents were there. But yeah, and I wouldn't have even gotten to go on that trip if it wasn't for my English teacher.
he was also the choir teacher.
Yeah, which shout out to him. He was the best teacher I ever had. Loved him. But yeah, he actually stood up for me. Because he was the only one that could put up with my bull crap and wouldn't go directly to the principal.
I've noticed that even in public school that English teachers are always the coolest ahead.
Oh yeah. He let me sleep in class. He knew that if we were doing reading, like around the room, reading a story,
He'd just skip you.
He knew to skip me because I'd be sleeping. He didn't care.
My English teacher, I had two of my favorite teachers were English teachers. Mr. Kime, shout out to you, who was also creative writing. I think he did AP English, but he was also I think when I started football in senior high, he was the wide receiver coach and linebacker coach. I think he was the coach up to my senior year, and then he no longer did that, but he was also my track coach for 4 years. So he was super cool. And then Glenda Waite, who helped me through a rough patch after getting let go from a job. And I went to the Career Center, and she worked there as like one of the, teachers of helping people with their GEDs and all that. And she was surprised because I got one of the highest English scores and scored out early for the next step or whatever. I was like, why are you surprised? You were my English teacher. So English teachers are pretty cool. Probably my favorite, subject.
Oh yeah, yeah. I loved my English teacher. Anything else about, you read through my notes. Did anything else stick out to you?
So we talked about one specific person mostly, but was there anything else from other people in the church or church school, slash school, whatever, that was swept under the rug, or that should have been addressed?
I did have a friend who had an older brother that got punched in the chest by his soccer coach or someone who worked with the soccer team for having headphones in. I didn't find this out till after I graduated either. My mom,
New people.
yeah, my mom knew people, but yeah, he actually got punched in the chest for it.
I mean, I know that
Not like a joking punch either, like he was hurt.
yeah, because I played football for 10 years, and my coaches, I've seen my head coach grab some kid by the face mask, kind of pull him towards him and scream at him, but I've never seen any of my coaches physically abuse the players
Yeah,
because
no,
they did something stupid.
He was abused, like yeah. Let's see.
Emotionally, maybe, but not physically.
I don't know if I ever told you this one. I had missed school for a few days, and the principal
Missed?
showed up. Well, at this time,
Because your senior
Yeah,
year, you
after I got kicked out, yeah,
Didn't care.
I would just skip school all the time.
still
But
graduated.
yeah, barely, but I did. But I don't know if I ever told you this. The principal showed up to our house with
Smelly?
a pedophile.
That wasn't smelly.
That wasn't. Yeah, why would he show?
I don't know.
But no, this
Somebody
other
wrote that, but I
man.
thought that it was okay.
No, this other man, which I didn't know at the time. He just thought I don't know if it was another higher up in the church, but my mom, after they had left, told me. My mom's friend, who has now sadly passed away, her children had got abused by this man, but they never pursued anything.
Why did he bring him to the house? Do you know that, or just
Well, he wanted to check in on me, see how I was doing. I guess he was trying to be nice.
the
'Cause I-
principal or the
The principal.
but why did he bring somebody with him? Like, accountability, maybe? I don't know. That's strange.
I don't know, but yeah, my mom told me that. I'm like, whoa.
She probably was like, "Hey, you need to stay away from him." Did she know this, like right after he left?
She knew while they were there,
Oh,
but she didn't want to cause a scene.
obviously, yeah.
And mind you, my dad's a cop.
Yeah, and for us, I'm surprised I didn't get shot.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. So after school, a lot of the times, since we had to share the buses with the public schools and stuff, we had lived far enough away to where I would have to go to an elementary school and then ride the elementary school bus to my house. Well, I hated doing that in high school because I was the oldest one there and I always get gawked at. And little kids are mean.
And what's the saying
So-
go? If a man tells you you're fat and ugly, he's a jerk. If a woman tells you you're fat and ugly, she's jealous. If a child tells you you're fat and ugly, you're fat and ugly.
Yeah,
Kids
they're
are
just
honest.
mean. So I hated doing that. So a lot of the times after school, I would change. After the final bell rang, after school hours, I'll go in the bathroom, change into shorts and a regular shirt because we had to wear skirts and polos, button the whole way up. God forbid you even showed your collarbone. I mean, oh boy.
Just so on an extra button there.
I'm surprised. Yeah, don't give them ideas.
Your basketball. Never got to see you play basketball, but I've seen plenty of pictures. I don't know how you guys ran in them.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
basketball uniforms.
I've seen Mennonite girls play basketball in skirts that were shorter than your shorts.
Oh, it was horrible. But yeah, that can be another story. But no, so I would change after the final bell rang and I would walk into Huntington to where my mom worked. And then I would just ride home with her because I just did not want to ride the bus. I didn't have my license at this time, of course. So I'm about a block away from the school and I hear these feet shuffling towards me. I'm like, what the heck? I turn around. It's the principal chasing me. Now, this is an older man, mind you.
Probably
He's-
what, 60s, maybe late 50s.
I'd say late 60s. I don't know.
Really?
He was up there, yeah.
He just reminds me of the. I don't want to give like hints away, but he reminds me of the honestly the teacher from The Incredibles.
Yeah, just older, yeah. He chased me down the street to tell me not to leave the school looking like that because you're still representing the school. I'm like, I'm not walking in 80-degree weather into Huntington wearing a skirt down to my toes and a polo.
Polos are thick.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's
I'm
thick
not
cotton.
doing that. Like, I looked like a Mennonite girl walking from the school. So yeah, he chased me out of the school. He didn't even send a female teacher. No, it was him.
He could have waited at least till he got to school the next day and say, "Hey, you know, uh, let's play this out in a different way. You did that. You come to school the next day. He has you come in his office. He said, "Hey, I would appreciate that you instead of changing on school grounds, you would wait till you leave our property because we want, you're representing our school." How would that have played out differently if he would have done it that way instead of running down the street and chasing you?
I still would have thought it was absolutely freaking ridiculous.
But you probably would have been a little more respectful and kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it, because I've learned.
No.
I mean, a teenager, yeah, but I've learned
I mean, now, yeah, Maddie back then, no.
over the years that the way you have a conversation can have an entirely different impact
Oh, yeah.
on the outcome of.
Oh,
of
I knew
said-
how to work the system. I was in there all the time. I knew how to talk to him and get out of stuff. And it was always the male teachers. Now we had gone through a couple teachers, but I had noticed a lot. Anytime anyone was dress coded, especially the girls, it was normally by a male teacher, or a male teacher went to a female teacher and said, "Hey, dress code them." Like the female teachers never really took notice, except for the science teacher, 'cause she was up our
Wow.
butts all the time.
Yeah, I mean, men obviously are creatures of vision. That's where men get their kicks. So I kind of get it. It's
Okay, the vision was the back of our knees and our collarbones. If
So-
that gives you a boner, you need therapy. Like, I'm sorry, my collarbone's so sexy. I can't really control that.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously public school as a whole is very different. There's no dress code. I mean, for what you describe, Southern sounds like it's a prison.
Southern sounds like a dictatorship compared to Huntington High School.
But then again, look at the people that have come out of Huntington compared to Southern, like the way they are. Like, I mean, Southern's a bunch of rednecks.
Yeah, but
We'd always say
man,
Junior Valley
at
was all-
Huntington, you could go in wearing short shorts, a tank top, and flip flops.
Yeah, you're in Southern. Your shorts had to be at least to your fingertips. No, your spaghetti straps had to be 2 or 3 fingers. And we couldn't wear flip flops. No, we had to have not. It had to be go around the back of your heel
Yeah,
for
see, we
anything.
didn't have that.
I bet they probably could wear Crocs. I had a guy who'd always come in moccasins.
Yeah, no, that. Oh, oh.
But going back to what you're saying about like with the men get their kicks off looks. So I kind of understand why they're more focused on, or not even so much focused on. They notice more than women do. Women don't care, especially if it's other younger girls or whatever. But I mean, obviously, I had a teacher. I don't know if he was fired over it, but I heard the story and twice that he got caught looking down a girl's shirt multiple times, same girl, and someone caught him looking at stuff on his laptop in the middle of class. So, and from what I understand, he wasn't a bad teacher. He's kind of mean. Never had problems with him, but he was a good athlete in high school. But when it usually happens, it's male teachers, because I think Dad was just saying the other day that a female teacher I was talking to Dad get in preparation for this episode, because he wanted to know what we were talking about, and he said that our cousin, they go to a Christian private school out towards Chambersburg, and a female teacher actually just got fired for having relations with a male student.
Wow.
So, and what's honestly funny is I've seen so many stories now that have been female teachers
Female I've
getting in
noticed
trouble.
that, yeah.
It's I don't know if it's a shift or something, or they're getting caught more, but lately it's been female teachers. So
Yeah, I know. I never had any problems with the male teachers at this school. It was always mostly just the science teacher. She really grinded my gears.
our science teacher, biology, she was one of the ones that the all the guys would have loved to have one of the news stories pop up about him. Because I tell you what, in Southern,
Yeah,
there was
none of the
not
teachers.
many good-looking teachers at our school.
No, not here.
At least
either.
not for a guy.
There's one for me, but I'm not going to mention it because he might watch this and that'll be awkward.
There's a couple guys that had taught at our school that I think some girls probably had a thing for, but
Oh yeah, I mean,
It was never awkward about it.
at Huntington, everybody liked the history teacher, Mr. Bear. Like all the girls went crazy over him. I think you
I know
know,
him.
yeah,
Yeah, I know because I knew his
yeah,
wife first.
yeah. He was my history teacher, and
He's young.
he was actually super cool because there was no rhyme or reason to his classroom. He just put the desks wherever. He would walk across a desk, walk on his desk. He gave us all iPads.
When did he start teaching there?
Oh, I don't know.
Because he's young. Because he's only about, I'd say he's somewhere between 3 to 4 years older than I am.
Maybe I know.
his wife's
I know
only, like, 2
he
years
was
older than me.
pushing 30 whenever I was in 10th grade.
When you were in 10th grade, you were how old?
I would have turned 16 in 10th grade, so you
So
would
I'd
have been
have
about
been-
20.
No, I wasn't that old.
You're 4 years older than me.
I think I was 19 when we started,
19, 20.
talking.
He was.
Because I didn't know you were 16.
You were 20 when we started talking.
Was I?
Yes.
I didn't know you were 16. Just makes
I
it so
I
weird.
was about to turn 17.
Doesn't make it any better, but
It worked out.
4 years when you're out of
But-
high school doesn't matter, but in school it's kind of weird.
Anyway, yeah, he was probably pushing 30, but yeah, every girl likes him.
So he's 10 years. So he's about 8 years older than his wife.
I don't know.
I know he's fairly young.
I mean, I thought he was cute, but I didn't go feral over him like a lot of the other girls. But anyway, yeah, I never paid attention in this class because he gave us iPads. What was I supposed to do? Like, I got on Pinterest and was scrolling the whole time. I never knew what he was teaching.
That was back in the days
I
when
don't know how
memes weren't a thing. They weren't called memes. They were you had a rainbow picture behind it with the kid's face, a thumbs up, and I forget what they were called, but they weren't memes at the time.
Yeah, I'd just be on Pinterest the whole time. I don't know how the heck I passed that class.
So in my senior year, I had 3 classes. I mean, I had more than that, but I mean, I only had 3 classes that mattered, and then I was in the library.
My senior
Lunchroom
year,
or
after I
band
got
room.
kicked out, I had
2,
no, I had 4. I took 2 at
4.
Pennsylvania Highlands, and
Like you went to
2.
4 classes.
No, I took 2 at Pennsylvania Highlands and 2 at the high school, but I would skip all the time. Well, I'd skip the high school a lot of the time. I didn't skip the college one because I
They were a
actually
little more
enjoyed that one.
and they were a
yeah.
little more important. They covered more credits for
Oh yeah,
to
because that was
graduate.
math and science. The Huntington one was only like home ec and like computer stuff. Like, it was stupid.
I remember that because you had to make a website and you had no idea what you're doing, and I already had one at the time.
Yeah, it was really dumb.
You still didn't let me help you.
So yeah, I would skip those classes all the time. I don't think my parents know that, but they do now. No, yeah, I would sign out like the time I was supposed to sign out, but like 2 hours earlier, and I just leave. I know the one day I was supposed to go to school, but instead we went to Altoona
I remember that.
and went to the mall, and it turned out that my class from this private school was there for like singing
That's
Christmas
right.
carols.
I remember that.
And the principal came up behind me all creepy, like, "Hey, Maddie, how are you?"
Not even like in front of you. Like I watched him come up behind you and then poke his head around to look at you. It's weird.
And by this point, he had grown a creepy mustache.
Which is why I thought he looked like the teacher from The Incredibles. Because that was the only time I ever met the guy.
Oh, really? Oh
Yeah, I
my
don't remember. I
gosh.
don't remember what he looked like beforehand, but that was the only time I ever met him.
The one cool thing about him, I will give him this. He rode a motorcycle. He owned a motorcycle.
He did not let the guy who would ride a motorcycle.
Yeah. And he would ride it to school sometimes, but so I'll give him that. Anytime I drive past his house in Huntington, I make sure I'm blaring the like heaviest song I got on my playlist. Cause oh yeah, they thought any music was evil there unless it was a hymn.
So did your English teacher, though. I think he's coming around to more stuff.
No, yeah, I actually got him to listen to a Disciple song.
But he argued with you first about that, though, didn't he?
No, where were we heading? I forget where we were going, some field trip, and I was talking to him, and I said like what if Christian metal is the only Jesus that some people hear? And I don't know how the conversation went, but it pretty much just ended with, "Hey, I don't agree with you." But I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I still like the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the music you like, but there's just some that very specific songs or very specific artists that I don't like. I can't go along with some people like Screamo Christian. For me, I don't know what you get out of it because you can't understand what they're saying anyway. But I get the crowd and the fellowship is what I understand.
Certain screamo I don't like.
The fellowship is what I get. The lyrics, I don't. It sounds like pigs squealing.
I don't like the pig squeal stuff.
I guess that's death metal, and
Yeah,
I don't even know any death metal Christian bands.
there are some,
I'm not on that
but
side of music, so
yeah, they're. I think the heaviest I get into Christian metal would be probably Demon Hunter's old stuff.
yeah. I had an
'Cause
ex that she got
even
me into them because I never knew them, but I still wasn't like they're like
They've mellowed out in their recent
which
albums.
I like their new stuff. I like when there's screaming in it, but it's not like the entire song.
Like Red.
Yes, or Lacey Sturm or Disciple. I think Red's probably is the best example because even what's the singer's name? Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Even with him screaming, that man still has the voice of an angel. Like his angel,
Oh my gosh,
his
I
voice
love him.
is so smooth. Even just
anytime we've met him, I've told him that, like, hey, I love your voice. Like, even in passing, I walked past him at Uprise last year. I said, hey, I love your voice.
very tiny guy.
He's short.
He's not as short as Lacey Sturm, but he is short.
Yeah, he's pretty short. But
Still waiting
very
on that
talented.
announcement from Uprise.
For Red,
Yeah,
it's not coming.
it's not
Nope. Red had just posted something about
the
dates
tour. And
that coincide. I'm like, darn it.
that's a shame. Still gonna be
Yeah.
some good bands there. Disciple, Skillet,
They
Switchfoot.
haven't announced a whole lot of good openers for the headliners yet.
Well, it
Have
is
you noticed
still
that?
yeah, it is still.
I mean, I know Lecrae is
Well,
going to be one, but
I'll
yeah,
I'll throw
but
that out right there now. I don't care for him.
I don't either. But I'm very picky with my rap. I like NF and Eminem.
I like his CD Anomaly. That's it. A lot of the what's funny is the stuff on that album it doesn't hit home with me, but it's very personal and especially the good, the bad, and the ugly. That song's fantastic. I don't know if that's about his life personally, and it's a shame that what he says and what he does are two different things. Because if he lived the way that the same way that song goes, it's a very emotional song. And I like Church Clap. I know it's not his song, but he is very heavily featured in it, and I like
Yeah,
that
I'll
song.
say like if he's featured and stuff, I don't mind.
He's not a
it.
bad artist. I just him personally, I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah. Um.
Anything else about your
uh,
life in private school?
I do know one. I had a friend that went to the other private school in Huntington. And
Is there
she
only
got,
two, or is there more than that we know of?
There's two.
Private Christian schools.
Two private Christian schools in Huntington. I won't say the one I went to, but there is one
You can speculate.
by Walmart. Yeah, guess. There's one by Walmart.
I'll tell you where it's at, but I won't tell you what it is.
Yeah, there's one by Walmart and there's one by
Football field.
yeah. You have Detweiler Field in
Yeah.
Huntington. Yeah, it's
I
like,
never knew what it was called.
yeah. Anyway, so my friend had gone to the other one that I didn't go to, and she got kicked out of the school over the summer. So she wasn't even in
Oh, that's
school
right.
yet. She went on vacation, and she's a very attractive, skinny girl. So I mean, she can pull off a bikini. Like she's just a good-looking girl. So she posted it online, like on her personal Facebook page, I don't know what it was, but somebody from the school saw that and was like, "Nope,
She got
kicked
kicked out.
out." Yeah,
Because you represent your school, even when you're
Even-
not in the school.
and it's summer vacation.
Yeah. I was never on board with that because I've seen jobs that are the same way. Now, I understand if you are very high up at the job or if you are a teacher at,
Oh, yeah,
at said
that's a
job or
little
school,
different, yeah.
you represent because that is your career. But if you're just going there or you're just an hourly employee that just goes there to get a
And so-
paycheck,
And it was just like a swimming picture.
yeah. And
Now,
nothing
if she said something like racist or inappropriate, like I get that.
but just, and it
but
wasn't even
she's-
nothing provocative either. It's just
She's swimming in a bikini.
yeah. I bet even if it was a monokini that covered most things up, they probably still would have a problem with it.
Probably. Because God forbid you show your kneecaps.
Yeah. Knee pits behind your knees.
I guess there are men out there that find kneecaps and collarbones real attractive.
There's people that find feet attractive, so it would not surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's multiple other stories I could probably share, but we just don't have enough time for that.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, my biggest thing was him never getting kicked out, even though he did all of those things, and I was getting. Oh, I forgot to share why I got kicked out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was doing better, but and so a special thing for the seniors at that school was on Wednesdays you could leave. I forget, it was like 12 or 1 o'clock. You just leave, and it was just a special thing for the seniors. So it got to be that time, and we were all getting ready to go, and there was an announcement. Oh, hey, we're doing it's something or other for those uh like
Assemblies.
yeah, to sell chocolates and stuff, and
Oh,
who raises the most money.
Fundraisers and stuff.
They decided to do that on a Wednesday at the time the seniors were supposed to leave. I did not say a word, but I
never
was
did any of
annoyed.
those.
Oh yeah, I never did either. I'm like,
Because the funny thing is, for when you're in public school, you have a senior class trip. If you want to go, it's expensive, but you can fundraise for it. The school will provide the stuff you fundraise, whatever.
and if you don't want to go, you don't have to.
It's optional.
Right?
For me, I think my class trip went to probably Florida. That's where everybody goes. I could go into stories about the classes behind me who had special privileges because the one student's mother was part of their thing, so they got to go on a cruise to the Bahamas or whatever, which was never allowed. But you had the option to go. So Dustin and I, we stayed home that entire weekend, or that week that you were there, and played video games. That was my senior class trip. I got to stay home, play video games with my best friend.
At
Chris, your school.
I almost said it. At this private school, if we didn't go, we couldn't walk during graduation.
You were forced to pay to go.
Yes,
pay for this trip.
I had asked my mother, I'm like, can you give me a doctor's excuse saying I don't have to go? And she's like, yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous. You had to get a doctor's
I
excuse not
wasn't
to
going to
go.
walk at my graduation anyway. Like, screw that.
You didn't even walk.
I didn't walk at my actual graduation anyway. But back to how I got kicked out.
Okay, sorry.
Kind of went on the side rant there. But anyway. So we're sitting in this assembly. Science teacher lady is sitting at the end of my row. She always chose to sit near me. English. See? I shouldn't have slept during English class. She always chose to sit near me. And all I did, of course, it was pews.
Mm-hmm.
I did not say a single word. I didn't even go, but I did want to leave. So all I did, I sat there and just put my head back on the pew like this, like staring up the ceiling, like, hey, I want to go. I didn't roll my eyes. I didn't huff and puff. I didn't say a single thing.
And that's what did it.
But that was the final straw.
Your attitude got you kicked out.
Yeah, me putting my head back on the pew. Not saying a single word, just... And the thing is, I didn't even participate in selling the dang chocolate. So, like, why did I have to sit through and see people win these dumb, plastic, stupid prizes that they probably threw out as soon as I got home anyway?
You go to the dollar store and buy as Tim Hawkins says, thank God for the dollar store. The toys break as soon as you get them home.
Yeah, like, and then I had a classmate who was actually verbally complaining because her job had scheduled her to work.
Because she's used to getting out early.
Yeah, so she was actually verbally complaining and throwing a fit. Nothing was done about her.
Had she had prior problems before, though?
No, we kind of butted heads, though, because our attitudes
Oh, that's right.
I
know who you're talking about. Okay.
I didn't not like her, but we were kind of the same person, but she wasn't as vocal about her attitude as I was.
Which is funny with women, that when you have the same personalities as other women, you tend not to get along. With men, it's like you got the same interests. Like we were saying the other day, our neighbor over here, I don't know his name, but I know his stepdaughter because I work with her. So I had asked how she's doing, and we just had a conversation at Martin's for 5-10 minutes as if we were best friends. Still don't know the guy's name. Don't need to know. Great, great conversation. Just don't know his name. Great neighbors too. So men and women are very different.
But yeah, I was glad to get out of that school. I mean, I was upset, of course, that I got kicked out, and then I was actually just going to drop out of school. I didn't care at all. My parents were going to let me.
No, they weren't.
Well, yeah, at first they were.
They said they would, but,
my mom said that... she was going to let me. She was totally fine. And then something changed her mind. She snapped, and I had to go back, and... I actually went back.
Pushed for you to go back too. So I mean, I didn't have a conversation with her, but I'd talk to you about it.
My high school diploma has gotten me nowhere. Even this job I have now, I don't think that was a requirement. I really don't.
No, well, most
And it
most
may have
jobs is
been, but I
about
could have lied and said I
GED.
have it.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Like,
You
if
know
you
what?
don't have to show proof.
You just say you have it. Yeah. Do you have your diploma or GED? Just say yeah. They're not going to check.
Exactly.
Never really noticed that.
Yeah, and I have a great job, fantastic boss. Shout out to Dan. Like, he's
Now you're gonna have
great.
to have him watch this episode.
Yeah, and Jimmy, love you, Jimmy, and your food. I only like you for your food. I'm kidding, but no, yeah, I love my job.
You got great
Easy.
conversations with your boss anyway, and this probably kind of will go along with. It'll probably open up more conversations for you guys to talk. So, you just have to tell him to listen.
I don't know if he does podcasts. I don't know.
No, now he will.
Now we will. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
And Jimmy,
Yeah, I don't know about Jimmy either.
you could put it on while you're there. When no one's there, just turn it on. You control the music anyway. So it's like, all right, Jimmy,
Well,
we're sitting
Jimmy's
down
there,
listening to
not
podcasts.
Dan.
Yeah.
If Dan's there, it's his music. No, yeah, I mean, I burned all my yearbooks. I was gonna burn my diploma, but I figured I'd eventually need it for something. But
Do they ever give you that little card with your diploma on it? We got a looked like an ID card with our diploma on it.
see, I'd
I don't know
rather
where
have
it's
that. That
at,
way I
but-
can just burn my stupid diploma, because all it's doing is collecting dust in a
Tote in the attic
totes. Yeah,
somewhere.
who cares? It was the worst 13 years of my life. Horrible. Absolute hell on earth. I do miss playing basketball. Basketball is my thing.
I don't miss high school, the aspect of like going to class and studying all this and that. I do honestly, I would say that I would rather be in school right now than paying taxes and going to a job. Not taking the classes, but just sitting in class talking to friends and being able to play sports. That's about it. I don't
I wouldn't
miss
mind
school.
taking some college classes now, but
It'd have to be very specific. Like if I go back to school for something just dumb, I'd go for like filmmaking. But
see,
there's no
I'm thinking like forensic psychology and stuff like that. Like,
something that matters.
yeah.
Mine wouldn't matter. I ain't getting a job around here with what I want to do.
But yeah, like basketball, like I had people come up to me at my games and say, "Hey, we're only here to watch you."
Which is it's a shame because I never got to watch you play.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out right before I think I went to one practice and then, "Hey, you're gone." So I didn't get.
I never
didn't
even get to see
get-
any videos. Do your parents have any videos?
I know.
My dad has every single game of mine.
I was gonna say I know there's always photographers there, but as far as videos, I doubt it. Which sucks. But yeah. Yeah, I was great at basketball. Just defense alone, like I didn't really. I made it on the All-Star team in 8th grade on defense alone. I took a senior spot in 8th grade.
No, but that's private Christian school.
Yeah. I never played in public school, but
I think you could have been good in public school. You were too afraid to try out for the team because you didn't want to be, third string or second string, whatever. But I think you.
oh
would
yeah,
have made
I
it
would.
up.
Oh yeah, in 10th grade, whenever I went to public school, yeah, the team was already so big and they already knew all the plays. I was going to be brand new. I'd have to learn all the plays. I don't have a good memory. I've never had a good memory. It took me how many years to learn the plays at the private school? And I
could
knew
still
I
tell you
wouldn't
the
be a
routes for
starter.
football. I'd like
And, yeah,
number
like-
wise.
This makes me sound horrible, but like I knew I wasn't going to be a starter and I didn't want to ride the bench the whole season. So I'm like, what's the point of playing?
I just enjoyed, and that's why if I didn't start until my senior year, which I could go on a whole rant about that, and maybe we will. I got my best friend coming on, maybe the next episode of the following one. We're going to talk about sports and stuff. But even if I didn't start, and that's why I like track because it's single person sport, no matter what you're going to play. But even if I didn't start, I just enjoyed playing, getting hitting people, and doing something outside of school and not having to get a job. They really helped out with if I didn't do sports or musicals or play stuff, I would have had to got a job. And that's
I did sports and had a job, but
but you didn't do near as much as I did.
oh yeah, I
10
mean,
years
I
straight.
only worked like 10 hours a week during school. Like throughout the summer, I'd go up to like 30 hours.
I trained for football at least every weekday for 10 years straight because you'd have summer training camp, and then during some seasons, usually football season, right after practice we would be done at like 5:30. Right after that, go into play practice at 6 o'clock, and I wouldn't get home till like 7 or 8. So I had no time to even work, even if I wanted to get a job. So
Yeah, no,
and I'm gonna put that advice out there now. If you are in school, beg your parents to not have a job if you got too much stuff going on. Be a high schooler, have fun. You have the rest of your life to work. You're gonna be paying taxes after you turn 18. and get your job.
I
So
don't know. I liked having money during high school.
that's where we kind of grew up different. I'm not saying like your parents were stingy, but my parents kind of provided for at least what I needed and some splurging when I was in school, so I didn't have to like, hey, I need to go get a job so I can do this or that. But I didn't, like I said, I was too busy to even need money to go do stuff anyway. It was usually just let's go to the movies once, let's go to.
Yeah, your parents bought your first car and your cell phone. I bought my first car, my first cell phone.
But then
With my own money.
my first car paid for the next one. That wreck paid for the next one. That wreck paid for the next one. So
See, I'm not the bad driver in this relationship. But
well, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience.
I didn't have a choice, but yeah.
I asked you. You know what? No, you said you wanted to do an episode. Don't blame me like
I
I
wanted to air
forced you.
out some dirty laundry about this school that is in Huntington County, Pennsylvania. One of 2 Christian schools in Huntington. You can guess which one it is. They just built a new building.
Don't
Still
sue
not
us for
saying any names.
defamation. We didn't say names, and these are all just accusations. Allegedly is that the word?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Did you
So
say
thank you.
you never saw proof of any of this? It was just a lot of hearsay, though. Just to clarify,
Except for when my friend messaged me, that whole thing.
she showed you the conversation?
I didn't want to see the
Well,
conversation. I don't want to see the picture.
Well, regardless, I mean, it's all
I
allegedly.
mean, yeah, but you would have no reason to lie at 2 a.m. And
Yeah.
he pretty much said it had happened, but he said his cousin did it, which I don't believe at all.
Oh, okay. So he admitted
But,
it, but
I mean,
he
he
admitted
had-
he didn't do it.
Yeah. But
Anywho, thanks for coming on. Maybe we'll have you on to talk about music next because you're a huge music buff more than me. Because you like lyrics. I don't care what people are saying as long as it's catchy, which is why I like a little. It's funny. People think they're polyamorous until they ride with me.
oh yeah, your playlist is rough. It's rough.
Goes from something heavy, not like screamo heavy, but something heavy to medieval harp playing,
And German rock.
and then between techno and dubstep. So anyway, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Not
I'll
gonna
stay
go
inside.
Yeah, not gonna go live with you.